Welcome to Gleaning Mustard Seeds with Jerrie Barber. Mr. Barber is a preacher, a ventriloquist, a barefoot runner, and writes 2 blogs. When Jerrie communicates, he encourages people, try not to learn very much. Find a mustard seed. In the next few minutes, try not to learn very much. Look for something you can do to move a mountain, remove a stumbling block, or provide a stepping stone for yourself or someone else. And now, here's Jerrie with this week's mustard seed.
In the last episode, The Best Day of the Week to Fire Your Preacher, I told how my dismissal was mishandled. If you haven't listened to episode 10, you might want to hear it to get the context for this message. It only takes 9 minutes and 3 seconds, and you don't have to listen to the commercial. It'll be the same one at the end of this episode. There is a better way and a better time to tell a preacher you think he needs to leave than between Bible study and worship on a Sunday morning. But the elder who did this wasn't a vicious man. He was a gentle man. He loved me. He loved Gail and our children. He didn't enjoy what he did that day. He had only served as an elder about 6 months. He was influenced by a group of discontented people. He didn't come up with the idea to advise me to leave. For 7 or 8 years after that painful day, I felt I was the victim. He did everything wrong. I did everything right. I couldn't help it. I often do some of my best thinking when I'm running. It was one of those runs 7 or 8 years later when I started thinking and asking myself some questions. Why would people suggest to him to ask me to leave? Why didn't they talk to me? Why was I so surprised? The idea of resigning, as he suggested, never entered my mind. I love the people in that congregation. The church had grown every year since I came. We enjoyed the community. I planned to go to heaven from that town. Why were people upset? The reason people do what they do is because they believe it's the right thing to do. How do I know? The Bible tells me so. Proverbs 21, verse 2. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the hearts. What did I do to give people reason to be upset? Number 1, I didn't handle anger well. I worked hard. I expected perfection from myself and others. Others and I don't do everything right. I was frustrated. About every 6 to 9 months, I preached a mad sermon. Now, at that time, I thought I was preaching the truth without fear or favor. However, I was venting my own frustrations. I can hear it now in my memory. There was certainty and disdain as I told the brethren how they needed to repent and do better. 2, I feared, avoided, and ran away from any criticism. I thought if anyone criticized me, I might be fired. The solution was never to hear criticism. Years later, I was told by a counselor, if you will communicate continually that you don't want criticism, not many people will criticize you until they get ready to fire you. He was on target. When I won't allow others to tell me where I'm missing expectations, there's no way to relieve the pressure and natural differences. One day, after I'd been told to resign and was already looking for a church where brethren would appreciate a great preacher, a sister came into my office to see me. She said, Jerrie, you talk like you're better than everybody else. You talk down to people. You talk like you're right and everybody else is wrong. My reply, well, I don't do that. I don't think I'm better than everybody else. You're wrong. It took years to recall more objectively that conversation and understand that I did exactly what she said I was doing. Number 3, I didn't have a trusted friend, mentor, or counselor who might have helped me deal with my anger and evaluate perceived, actual, or needed criticism. I had fears of what others thought, but I was afraid to give them permission to tell me. I didn't know or trust anyone to help sort through my doubts, lack of knowledge, and frustrations. Now, one of my frequent prayers is, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my anxieties, and see if there's any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." Psalm 139, 23, and 24. If I can't find a way to improve a painful event, I'm a victim and I'll be hurt again by the next person who wants to hurt me. If I drive through a dangerous section of Nashville 3 times in a week and I become the victim of a drive-by shooting each of those 3 times, I have some choices. 1, quit driving through the dangerous neighborhood. 2, buy bulletproof glass for my car. 3, get shot and be wounded or killed. Could you tell me a good place to have bulletproof glass installed, or find what I need in another part of town? My observation, most of the people who have hurt me repeatedly, I gave them permission and helped them. As I said before, so say I now again. If I can't find a way to improve a painful event, I'm a victim, and I'll be hurt again by the next person who wants to hurt me.
Thank you for listening to Gleaning Mustard Seeds with Jerrie Barber. If you found a mustard seed, send a text or email with a link to a friend. This podcast was brought to you by Braden Parsons Photography. From family photos to landscape photography and everything in between, Braden uses his passion for capturing meaningful moments to create art and embody memories that will be cherished for a lifetime. Whether you want photos for your family, an event, or even want to browse Braden's portfolio for prints you can buy as art for your home or office, go to bradenparsons.com to explore the creativity and inspiration that comes from Braden Parsons Photography. You can also contact Braden directly at bradencparsons@gmail.com to discuss how to turn your photography needs into your most adored keepsakes. There are links in the show notes to connect with Braden. Thank you for listening. Jerrie looks forward to next week as we continue to collect and plant mustard seeds.